What's up, everybody? It's Stock Picks by Tim, and hopefully the input lag, I noticed the voice to audio is kind of messed up. Hopefully I fixed it. Let me know in the comments below that I did or not. But in this video, we're going to look over Cleanspark. I'm going to talk about something I didn't even realize that they had. And we're also going to talk about how a lot of Bitcoin miners have been selling their Bitcoin to support their future growth, especially during these hard economic times that people are calling out. So if you get something useful out of this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It definitely helps me out greatly out here. And let's get into it. Now, first off, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Cleanspark does have a newsletter, and they'll send you emails directly. Any news that hits, any new information that comes out, you'll be the first to get it. So definitely sign up for their newsletter. I didn't know that they had one, but looking back, I did see that there was an option to sign up for the newsletter. I just didn't do it, forgot about it. But yes, sign up for the newsletter, and then you likely will get the mining updates probably quicker than when they come up on Facebook. That's my guess, but we will see. So check out their newsletter, but the main point of this was this article here talking about how Bitcoin miners are just selling their crypto despite these prices currently, despite Bitcoin, coming into the 20,000 range. And this article does feature Matt Schultz very briefly in literally one paragraph. So Matt Schultz says that a wave of small investors betting on Bitcoin during the bull cycle, well, those miners are now at risk of having to sell all their Bitcoin because they're basically trying to pay for machines that they ordered months ago, while also putting down non-refundable deposits. So they're almost forced to pay, otherwise they're going to be at a huge loss for it. Now, I haven't heard of Cathedra, but Cathedra here is another Bitcoin miner, and they state that they have literally spent the last several weeks restructuring their balance sheet and operations to ensure that they're positioned to endure a prolonged economic downturn. So a lot of these crypto miners are mentioning this potential economic downturn. And I get it. They're publicly traded miners. It's definitely hard for publicly traded companies to get more money when their stock price is so beaten down. You're going to have to dilute at a lower price, which definitely hurts your stock. You don't want to do that. So for a lot of these Bitcoin miners, I feel like their best option is kind of selling Bitcoin. Otherwise, they're basically screwing their shareholders, selling their stock at what I would say is a stupid place to sell your stock at and dilute. So that's one thing to think about. They're definitely in a hard position, and sure, it's not great to have to sell Bitcoin in the 20,000 range. I definitely think that's just a horrible place to sell Bitcoin at. But in some cases, this is really their only option. What else are they going to do? Dilute their stock when it's so low priced. You kind of got to roll with the punches there. Now, one thing that I do want to mention with Cleanspark is they have been selling their Bitcoin, but that has been their strategy, selling some Bitcoin to support their growth. And when you look back, they have been pulling the trigger on their sales at really good spots, it seems. And the only way Cleanspark would look like a bunch of idiots for doing this is if Bitcoin over, a month, 2 months from now was to just rise over 40,000. Then they might not look like they made the best decision. Is it likely that Bitcoin over the next month, 2 months is going to rise to 40,000? I don't know. I personally don't think so. What I personally believe is we're looking at a potential of about a year and a few months of Bitcoin possibly still stagnating, even coming down lower. But remember, we are getting closer and closer to the next halving. If you don't know what every halving is, look into it. It's a very simple supply and demand economic that's built into Bitcoin. And that, to me, is all you really need to know about it. Look into it in more detail. One thing I wanted to mention about this article here is it says that the value of all the crypto that these miners have sold is about 6.3 billion. Now, one thing you got to think about, during this pessimism in Bitcoin, you've also got all these miners selling. What happens when things start turning around, when the miners are all just, steadily holding again, when the retail investors hop back in, get bullish again, when we approach that halving and the Bitcoin mined dries up even more? But definitely check out this article. I will leave you guys a link down below. Now, looking at Cleanspark on the chart here, we were in this upward trend. Once we broke out of it, it increased the selling pressure. Now we're sitting in the low fives. If you guys are familiar with this channel, you know that I think Cleanspark is criminally undervalued, even under $10. But I can see why it's trading at this price right now. You do have to be aware that while Bitcoin stagnates, we're going to come up to our next quarter, and it's very likely that Cleanspark will have revenue that's actually less than the last quarter or the quarter beforehand. So that's not good to finally see a decrease in revenue. It will be the first quarter that we could see a decrease in revenue. I think this is very likely. We got our two mining updates, and they were pretty lackluster. And the last month of their quarter, they're going to need about double in revenue that they had for either of those previous months. So they're going to need to pretty much come in line in 1 month what they did in 2 months. And I highly doubt that's going to happen. And, you know, to be honest, I would prefer that they don't sell a bunch of their Bitcoin to make their revenue look good, you know, to appease shareholders. I'm more concerned with the long term with Cleanspark. I'd rather that they hold that Bitcoin, only sell what they have to sell. But in the end, I trust management that they're going to make the right decision. So far, they have done the right thing with selling their Bitcoin, it seems. And why not sell Bitcoin to be able to make more Bitcoin later? Seems simple enough of a concept to me. But let's really quickly look over Bitcoin on the chart, and it does look like we broke out of a trend there as well. And looking at Bitcoin here, you'll see the same thing. We're kind of in this upward trend. We just broke it. It seems like it's holding it as a resistance now. But it does seem like lately we've been kind of contracting in volatility. And typically when you get this contraction, when it starts trading sideways, when things start mellowing out, you either get a huge move to the upside or to the downside. I think one great way to look at Bitcoin is to see it as being a continued buyer over the next year and a few months. I do think it will be a prime time to continue to buy Bitcoin. I think you can definitely be patient with it, and just don't pile in, don't go all in, you know, be patient, be slow and methodical. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's all I got for you today, guys. Just thought I'd give you an update on Cleanspark. Let me know how you guys are feeling lately about Cleanspark or Bitcoin in the comments below, and until next time, take it easy.